Hey everybody, John C. and
Denise Richards and the lovely Lulu.
Lovely Lulu. Good to have you today, Lulu. We are still working on getting her to face the camera correctly so that her bootay is not facing the audience, but she loves to see us. And she hasn't learned how to look here and smile yet. Which, by the way, I had some feedback from somebody a while back on our videos. Yeah, somebody you know well. I won't say her name. But she recommended that I smile in these videos.
Oh.
So I'm smiling for you. You know who you are. So I'm smiling more for you so that you're happy.
I know who she is too.
I know you know because she may be related to you. All right, enough hints there. Denise, do you need a job?
Personally, I do not.
No.
But
if
I did.
Yes.
What would you suggest?
Well, I would suggest that you reach out or post a comment below on this video because we know a lot of people here in South Florida, right? We network with a lot of local business owners and they need help. They need help. This is a cry for help. I was just thinking about a few people we talked about before, like Fred and Gigi, our cleaners. They need help and they pay pretty good for a cleaning company. And they don't clean, they detail homes,
They detail homes, right?
So we know a lot of people who are looking for people.
Everybody seems to be looking for people, and we know a lot of people.
Yeah. So Angie and I were out at a restaurant last week here in Fort Myers. We walked in on a date night, and it was like half full, right, the restaurant. And I was surprised that there were only that many people there. But then the waitress, the hostess lady, you know, she says, you're going to have to wait about an hour. And I'm thinking to myself, there's nobody here. But she said it was because they only had one cook in the kitchen. Right? Maybe that cook told the other cooks to get out of the kitchen. I don't know what he told them, but they only had one cook. So we had to wait an hour just to sit down because they don't have employment. So if you need a job, post below and we will help you find and connect with somebody else. Yeah. Any other thoughts there?
Yeah, no, I mean, every time we have a meeting within our network, every industry seat is looking for somebody. It just seems like, and so many people are hiring people that don't have to be trained. They're willing to train.
That's true.
For good paying jobs.
That's true. I'm still trying to smile, and it's really tough to smile for more than like 10 seconds. All right. So part of our thing here today is to educate people and to have some fun. I think we're kind of having some fun. And to entertain. I think we're a little entertaining. At least Lulu is, so that's always helpful. Let's talk a little bit, though, about the market, real estate market right now. I think about this market. People like to put terms on this real estate market. It's definitely a seller's market. Seller's market would be typically if there's enough inventory for 4 to 6 months, it's pretty neutral. If there's only homes for 3 months or under, it's a seller's market. If there's enough inventory for up to 7 to 8 months, it's a buyer's market. So right now we have enough inventory for about 3 weeks. So this is like crazy seller's market. If a seller wants to sell a home, they can pick a price, put it on the market, and it will probably sell. Now, maybe not for that price if they're way overpriced, but it's going to sell. That's just how it is. How about in the mortgage?
Yeah, I mean, I've got buyers ready to go, just trying to find a house.
Yeah.
That seems to be the biggest challenge right now.
Are any of them giving up?
Yeah. I've had some give up,
Don't give up.
But you can't. And what about people talking about how right now is not the time to buy a house? They talk about how if we just wait it out, home prices are going to come down.
That ain't happening. That's our prediction today. That's mine today. I predicted it for a couple months, but home prices aren't coming down. They're slowing down, but they're not coming down.
Right.
I don't see it.
No, I think it's settling. They're sort of settling down.
Good word.
Rather than the quick rise that we saw
settle.
A little earlier on this year last year.
I like settle. Things are settling a little bit. And I'm okay with that because it's been kind of crazy the last year and a half. All right, let's jump into our next part of our topic today because last time we talked a little bit about inspections. So if you want to know about inspections, all you need to do is watch the previous video. If you don't know in the time frame when those occur, how that occurs, what type of inspections there are, click on the previous video and we talked a good 5 or 6 minutes about inspections and who to hire for an inspection. We talked about Vic Nickel from Full House Inspections and how he can help them here in South Florida. So let's get our letter for Lulu here in just a second. But before we do that, are we thankful for anything today?
When we were all talking about New Year's resolutions, this was a fun year because losing weight wasn't on my list of resolutions this year.
That's good.
Being healthy is.
Okay.
And I will tell you, from having found intermittent fasting,
That's a good one.
my health level has changed unbelievably. So that today is what I'm thankful for.
Yes. And we're starting another video series, health. Denise and I will. She doesn't know that yet. I'm telling her right now on how to be a healthier version of you, because intermittent fasting is a good way to eat healthy. I wouldn't even call it a diet.
It's really a lifestyle change. They talk about that all the time when you tell people, oh, I want to lose weight. Mm-hmm. It's a lifestyle change. Well, it truly is. Yeah. And this happened to be one that worked.
Do you want to talk about how much weight you've lost, or is that too personal?
I lost 50 pounds.
Whoa!
It took me some time, and it's been almost 2 years I've had it off. So
good for you.
Yeah, and I haven't changed a thing.
Good for you. So people tell me I look a lot skinnier, and the first thing I like to say to them is I must have been really fat, because if you're saying that. And I lost 35 pounds on the intermittent fasting, so that's exciting. We have some people in our church who turned me on to it, and then I heard you were doing it. And yeah, it's a great way to lose some weight. All right, enough about that. This isn't a weight program. Let's move on. Let's get our letters from Lulu.
Okay, let's do it.
So Lulu has written us a question of the day, and somebody wrote a letter to Lulu, and we will read it on the show, because as we mentioned a few months ago, Lulu cannot read.
She cannot read.
But we would like... Go ahead.
She's wise beyond her years, though. So this is why she gets so many questions.
How many years is she?
She's like 3.5 years old now.
In dog years, or like...
Those are people years. So she's, 22, 23.
Lulu, we got to find you a husband. You're at that age. You're ready to get married. All right, letters to Lulu. Lulu, this subscriber says, what happens when my appraised value comes in higher than the purchase price? Do I have to pay that? What are they asking here, Denise? What is this letter to Lulu asking about appraised value?
Well, you get an appraisal, right? Because mostly your lender is telling you have to. Mm-hmm. As a cash buyer, you may want to do that anyway to know the true value of your home. So they get this appraisal, and they don't know what the value is going to be when it comes in. So that appraiser is going to come up with a value based off of other comparable sales within a very specific area, distance, and the sold date has to be within the last 6 months. So there are a lot of specifics when they come up with that comparable.
If the value comes in higher than what they agreed, do they have to pay that? So let's just say this is what they're asking. If the home is purchased or agreed upon a purchase price of $300,000, that's what they put on the contract. They're going to be closing in 3 to 4 weeks. Now the appraisal gets done, and the appraised value is $325,000 instead of $300,000. Do they have to pay $325,000?
Not if it's a finance transaction. Would they have to if it was a cash transaction?
No. Typically, they don't even have the appraisal on the cash transaction.
True.
I rarely ever see an appraisal because at that point, it's just a moot point.
Especially in this market right now.
Yeah.
Why would they need it?
If they refinance, then they'll want to do the appraisal.
Yeah.
But not that. So the answer to that question, great question, by the way, whoever wrote that, and the answer is no, you do not have to pay that. Now, let's talk about the other side of that question, which they didn't ask, and that is, if the appraised value is under the agreed upon purchase price on the contract, do they get to pay that? So the question is, if they agree upon $300,000 and the appraisal comes in at $280,000, do they get to pay the $280,000?
That's a really good question.
It is a good question.
That always.
Are you saying that because you want me to answer it?
No. I've got this is a really good question, because in a finance transaction, your lender is going to use the purchase price or appraised value, whichever is less.
Purchase price or appraised value, whichever less. So in this case, the appraised value is $280,000. Mm-hmm. So you're saying the lender is going to use that $280,000 value to loan upon.
Correct. Which means it might go back to negotiation for you to talk with the seller to see if they'll come down on the price.
So it comes in at $280,000, and here all of a sudden now the buyer is maybe in a quandary because maybe they don't have enough money to cover that difference, an extra $20,000 to go from $280,000 to $300,000, right? Because the bank's not going to pay that anymore. So now they're back to the negotiation table with the seller if they need that money to make it come together. Even if they don't need the money, they can still negotiate. You're back, if you're a contractor, if you're on one of our specific contracts here in Florida, you can now go back and negotiate if you're still within your time frame. You can still negotiate that number with the seller, and you may be able to get a lower price. So a lower appraised value is not always a bad thing for the buyer.
It's not.
For the seller, you may have to bring your sales price down a little bit. Now in this market, what I've seen, even if the appraisal is lower, which I've had happen quite a few times actually in the last year, what happens is the seller is still in the driver's seat because it's still a seller's market, as we talked about a minute ago. So if the appraised value comes in $20,000 less and the buyer says, hey, you know what? I want to renegotiate that. The seller these days are like, why would I renegotiate?
Yeah.
I'm just going to put it back on the market
Right.
and I'm going to get what I'm asking for, right? So that's happened a few times. Any other thoughts on the appraisal?
Yeah, I mean, if it comes in low like that and you're pre-qualified for a 5% down mortgage, you're going to pay 5% plus the difference. Something to think about too, we talked about earnest money deposit, right? And so let's say a buyer's appraisal comes in low and that seller says, I am not coming down on the price. And the buyer says, I don't have the money to come to the close for the difference. The good news is that in your contract, you have a financing contingency. If that appraised value comes in too low, it does not meet the collateral requirement for the home. So in that case, we can use that financing contingency to turn the loan down and you would get your earnest money deposit back. So you would not be stuck.
That's right. You're not stuck. Just make sure that you are clear with your realtor or your attorney who's helping you with the closing to stay in those timeframe guidelines. Because if you're out of that date period on what you agreed upon in the contract, you may lose your entire escrow deposit. You don't want that. Another important reason to have a good realtor and a person helping you on the financial side to keep you in the contract terms agreed upon initially.
So important.
Who pays for the appraisal? I'm going to add a bonus question. Who pays for the appraisal?
The buyer.
Oh, your buyers. You as a buyer are going, at least in Florida. I don't know about other states because I don't work other states, but I know in Florida the buyer does pay for the appraisal.
Pays for the appraisal. It's one of the only out-of-pocket expenses in terms of your mortgage costs that have to be paid up front. And they are pricey.
They are pricey. What is pricey? What does that mean? What have you seen on appraisals? I've seen $400.
$550 to $700. Appraisers are holding us at gunpoint for more money to get these appraisals done. They too are suffering with staffing issues.
Yeah, and if you don't have that $500 to $700, just talk to Denise. She'll loan it to you. I'm sure that's legal within the lender side, the lender giving you money before closing. I'm sure that's just fine with all the rules we have.
We do have
right?
some solutions.
We do have some solutions, but don't ask your lender for it. You can ask your realtor for it. I think I can let people borrow. Not saying I would, just throwing it out there.
Get yourself in a corner, John.
I am in a corner already, so I will dig myself out of that. So we want to connect you today with one person. Who are we going to connect them with today, Denise? Who do we know that we're going to connect them with?
Well, something that keeps coming up for me, my clients that are asking about refinancing, do I take cash out? If I do that, do I invest it? What do I do with it? I don't have a crystal ball, but I know Asaad Faraj, I think he does have a crystal ball.
He may.
Yes. He's with Primerica. He's helped me with quite a few things. I can't speak highly enough about him.
Good. So we're going to put Asaad's information below or on this video itself. So click below if you want to reach out to Asaad. He's a great guy. He's up in the Fort Myers area. Actually, I think his office is here in Bonita, not far from us, believe it or not. Nice little Primerica office. Reach out to him. I know he does financial advice. He also works with term insurance, life insurance. And if you want him to slap you upside the head, say whole life insurance to him because he just can't stand whole life. Don't say that. He doesn't believe in it. So anyways, reach out to Asaad. He'll be glad to help you with all of that stuff.
And we have his information
somewhere around here or in the description below. Click on that and he will be glad to reach out to you. Do me a favor before you leave this video today. If you haven't subscribed to this video series, do that today. We're going to put these out for you hopefully every week if you guys will keep watching them. If you don't, we may just quit this channel altogether. I don't know, but hopefully.
Then Lulu would be crying. It would just be a thing. It would be horrible.
So like for Lulu and then go ahead and subscribe. Anything else we needed to go over today?
I think that covers it for today, John.
We covered it. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. Have an awesome week. Bye for now.